I'm 34.
I'm 38.
And we've been trying for 5 years. It's been a major life crisis for us as a couple and as individuals as well. And I personally don't think there's not one aspect of our lives it hasn't affected.
No,
everything.
Every single day you encounter it in whatever you do.
The feeling like you're stuck in limbo, everybody else is moving on with their lives, starting their families, people who are getting married at the same time as you or after you, moving on, starting to have that family, and you're still stuck every single day, hoping or that it's going to be your turn next, that you're going to be able to have a family is a big part for me.
Finding treatment hasn't worked as well. That's pretty harrowing as well.
Yeah. And just the waiting in between. For me, it was the waiting between tests that I found really, really difficult. And also right at the beginning when we knew there was a problem, but we were told to wait another 6 months, and I'd done my own research and realised that it wasn't going to happen. So it just felt like it was prolonging it even more. When it first started, we'd been trying for a while, and a nurse had recommended that we go and have a sperm test just to check that everything was all right with my husband. And it came back with the results were abnormal.
Yeah.
And I asked for a doctor's opinion, and he said, they're a little bit slow, but you'll be pregnant by Christmas. And that was in 2014. I really wasn't sure, and I asked for a second opinion. And I spoke to another doctor, and he said, yeah, they're a bit slow, it'll be fine. So I asked for a copy of the test results, and I compared every aspect of them, and I thought, no, this is really not right. But I was in denial and decided it was a one-off, and we carried on trying until Christmas.
And that's when we found just before Christmas that we were officially not going to be able to conceive naturally.
When we saw a third doctor.
Yes.
And they told us our chances were less than 1% with your sperm.
Yes.
And then we had another test. I think we found it was around
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, we found out that we definitely wouldn't be able to conceive naturally.
You sort of feel strangely emasculated. You feel like you can't give your wife what she wants and what she needs. And then you find out someone else is pregnant, and you're driving home from work thinking, how am I going to deliver this news when, through no fault of my own, the problem lies with me. So the whole thing is pretty harrowing, and sometimes if you're not seen to be sharing other people's happy news with the same levels of euphoria that they expect, it makes it much, much harder. It's by far the most testing time that we've been through as a couple and as individuals. I don't think it's tested our relationship. It's made us in many ways much stronger as a couple and as individuals. I'd like to think it might have made us more patient in certain situations and more careful and considered. But the cost of getting there is we'd rather not have that, to be honest, because the last 5 years, particularly the last 2 years, have been really, really horrible. I think we're quite lucky in that we have a strong relationship, and we've always been there for each other, even though we know where the problem lies. Terry's never looked at me any differently.
Could have easily been me. It could have easily been both of us. So.
Yeah. Being told that we were incorrect when we thought that we had 3 cycles of treatment ahead of us, when in actual fact we only had 1 cycle, and this was a very, very important consultation in the process. That was particularly tough to take, particularly as the process had taken so long to get moving, and then to find out that if your first one doesn't work, you have to pay for it yourself, was very, very tough.
Just to remember you're not alone, even though it does feel like you're on your own, and to reach out to people that do understand, I think is really important, because it is hard to find people in a similar situation at times. Be kind to yourself, and don't judge yourself too harshly if you feel jealous or angry or bitter, because you're faced with all these ugly feelings that you didn't even think you were capable of, but you have to forgive yourself, because it becomes part of who you are in some ways, and you can't help it.
And it's not your fault either.
No.
It's nobody's fault. What you're going through is nobody's fault. So
we're all human.
I mean, for the people around you as well who want to be sympathetic and want to be helpful, just try to understand that unless you've been through it, you don't understand. And being there and being sympathetic is enough. Don't try and rationalise it. Don't try and finish the subject with, you know, not acknowledging that it is actually a rubbish situation, and sort of closing things off on a pretend positive note. We know that it's not a positive situation. We just want acknowledgement that you're there, and that you're not going to tell us what we should or shouldn't be doing, or how we should and shouldn't be reacting.
And just look after each other and keep the lines of communication open.
Yeah.
Just keep talking about it.
Yeah, be there for each other.